Hello and good day. We've got another great show for you today talking about goals. And we're not talking about the ones that you kick a soccer ball into. We're talking about real goals, things that make you and your life better and everyone around you better. And we're going to talk about how we kind of set those up and what's our theme, what are we chasing, and how are we going to get there, and how are we going to track and kind of monitor our progress. So thanks for tuning in. This is Good Habits, Not Chasing Rabbits. My name is Logan Hall, and I got two awesome guys with me today, very important guys in my life, and we kind of help hold each other accountable. We got what I like to call my big bro, the CEO here at Century 21 Northwest, John Crow. Hello, John.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we'll just call him the marketing guru, and another one of my really good friends that I've known for close to a decade now, and we have shared many personal and professional endeavors together and like to hold each other accountable. The marketing guru, Mr. James Allen. What's up, James?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Absolutely. Well, welcome. And we are going to kind of kick it off with goals. And why we're starting there, yesterday I was teaching a class here about goal setting for the year from a professional standpoint. And, kind of start from the basics, which is, what's your mission statement? And what are kind of your values that accompany that, which kind of helps frame your direction and the roadmap that you want to go down. And then the next step is actually putting together your goals and the strategies and tactics to get there. And then I think the last part of that is accountability, you holding yourself accountable, having another accountability partner, and actually getting to your outcomes. And we're going to talk a little bit more about outcomes and goals.
Yeah, Logan, I like to kick it off with mission and values. And the reason I do that is because we are often not living a life of who we say we are, and we're often not living a life of who we want to be. And goals are awesome because they're objectives that help you get there. But if you're not marrying them against who you really say you are, you can really quickly wind up getting your life out of balance. And that's a great concept with good habits, not chasing rabbits, right? So, for example, if in my goals, I look down at what's going to help me accomplish my business goals, and I'm spending, hundreds of hours a month on those items, but I look over and on my family and personal goals, I'm spending a fraction of that. Having your vision and values of who you are to reflect back on that and look to see if that's in balance. It's a great check and balance, a great measurement tool for helping us become well-rounded, helping us become who we say we are.
Yeah, you remind me of that before we started today. That it's nice to have these goals and something to aspire to, but what kind of holds you in check or in your lane when you're trying to get to those goals or those outcomes? So, yeah, I think it's very important to start with the mission. And just like if you're starting a new company, right, you got to have a mission statement for the identity of who your company, what you want your company to be, and then alongside of that, their values. So I think that's a good point, John, starting with the mission. What's your mission statement? What are you after, James?
Yeah, for me, I've never really been good at a work-life balance. My personality is I kind of just work all the time, and so I the last couple of years I've been trying to fix that, and it's been a huge challenge. And so one thing I've written down is things that my personal values. Right, I think there's all things that we objectively think are right and wrong, but there's also things that are just right for me, and so things that I start to feel bad about myself, or I start to feel guilty if I'm not upholding them. And so those are my personal values. And so I've started to list some of those things out, and it helps me then figure out how I should be spending my time, not necessarily how I want to, or what I find enjoyable. So I've kind of stopped looking at my life I want to try to make room for golf or hanging out with my friends versus, I have a responsibility to be a husband to my wife, a father to my daughter, and I have a responsibility, to be active and engaged at work and at home. Basically, wherever I'm at, I need to be 100% engaged and focused in that position. And so as a Christian, I feel called to live a certain type of life. And obviously I can't impose that on others, but I can hold myself responsible and surround myself with other people to do the same thing. And so, like for me, I believe those are like core things in my life. And so recently, like I thought the goal conversation we were having yesterday with all the agents as you were teaching that class was awesome, because it reminded me that writing down personal goals has been really helpful. And so I started planning my entire day around what time I need to eat dinner with my family, and then what time we're going to sit down and read the Bible together as a family. And so I put that on my Google Calendar. At 6:30 we eat dinner, 7:15 we do our family worship. And so I put it on my calendar, and then that determines what time I leave to go home from work. And that also then determines what time I get to work, so I can be here 8 hours, so it's like you almost have to pick one thing in your life to base everything else around. Otherwise, you'll just have competing things asking for your time. And so that's how I have started to do it, and it's been a real blessing. And so, like the Thursday Bible study, it's a huge thing for me too. I'm involved in some a recovery group as well, and so I meet with them on Sundays, and I'm of service in that way. And so then it's kind of like, well, what's all left in terms of time, right? And so that's where I try to spend one-on-one time with my wife and my daughter, and I'm still getting better at planning those things, but picking one thing like that to base everything else around has been really helpful.
That's a great strategy. We often hear this concept of, well, this is business and this is personal, and that's one of the greatest myths I think that's been perpetrated against our society ever, right? So business, if we aren't who we say we are in business, how can we possibly be who we say we are in personal? And so I like your idea of matching those things up. I like your idea, James, of setting out the tangible, measurable, here's what I have to do, right? Here's what's really important to me, like the time I spend with my daughter and my wife, and then building the rest around that. It's a really positive way, I think, of getting balance built into the system.
Well, a few things I liked about what you said, James, is, obviously starting with what's most important.
Yeah.
The big man upstairs, your family, and then work, and then friends, or friends and then work, somewhere in that order. I really like the fact that you are very focused on putting a plan together and writing things down and using that good old Gmail calendar that if we actually use and live by, really can kind of help focus that roadmap. But the thing I think I like the most about what you were saying was the fact that you recognize that you're falling short in some of those areas and that changes need to be made, versus most of us, myself included, and we all go through cycles or seasons of our life to where we're just so focused on work. Work's going good. We got a lot of big stuff going on, and that seems to be the priority. And 3 months go by, and you look back, and you haven't been to the park with your kids. You haven't taken your wife out on a date. You haven't been to church in a while. You haven't done any of these things. So, I think that one of the first important things is recognizing that you can do better. And a lot of us just fall into that rut or that routine, sometimes good routines, sometimes bad routines, but being aware that we can be improving, and it's not something we just stop after 3 months because we've figured it out and we've balanced. I think life continuously is a work in progress.
Yeah. For me, it's really hard, and I struggle with this because it's almost like I don't want to make like a priority list. It's in my mind, it's like, well, when I'm at work, I need to be at work. When I'm at home, I need to be at home, right? So it's not like it's disjointed, because so much I spend more time at work than I ever do at home. And so, it's what John was saying. It's important that the way I act at work is the way I act at home, right? And the time I spend, it's like I'm the same person. And so to find that continuity, for me, I really appreciate the values, that it's, we're at Century 21 where we work, because it allows me to focus on that all throughout my day. And so it was one thing I think that did help, though, was making that priority about like who I am, like as a Christian, and what that means. And so like I believe that God wants me to read, his word every day. He wants me to attend church every week, and wants me, as the guy in my house, to bring the word of God to my family. And so it's like, if I'm not doing that, though, then the rest, everything else is just vanity, And so like that's what I believe for myself, and I've been convicted of. And so it's like I spent the last couple of years like trying to do everything else but that and do it well. And I did some things well, but I was miserable because I was contradicting my own values, right? And so it's not like this is some objective standard I'm trying to put on others, but for me, it's like, and so I'm trying to live it through example and find other people that live that same way. And when I do, what I'm finding is that I'm providing leadership at my house, and then I'm hitting my own personal values, and then my family's being impacted and affected by it. And so it's creating a more positive experience to where even if I have to go to work and do something, they want to come with me. So it's creating like this team kind of environment, at least in my house, And so everyone's schedule is different, everything else, but it's really important for me that I created some sort of like foundation or starting place, right, to measure myself by, And so I know not everybody is a Christian, not everybody believes the same way I do, but for me, it's really important to who I am.
But it's a good point, right? So you're describing what your values are, right?
Right.
And so that source of where your goodness, your measurement tool, that's what you're describing. Right. So if that doesn't apply to someone else, they still need to reflect on where their source of goodness comes from.
You're right.
And how they measure that and what objectives they want to set around that, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. And I thought when Logan was teaching his class yesterday, I feel like you were hitting on like how agents can be successful, like how many people they need to meet in a year, how to break that down to every single day of the week so it's not overwhelming. Like you have to meet 500 people this year if you're going to be successful. It's like, are you serious? Like how am I going to meet 500 people, right? But if you break that down to 5 days a week, how many weeks there are in a year, then it's not so intimidating. And then just using something like a calendar where you schedule it, it hit me like, man, like if I hadn't actually stopped and been in a lot of like emotional and spiritual pain, I wouldn't have been like, I'm just going to put this on my calendar and base everything else around it. It was like my Hail Mary, but it was the smartest thing I ever did, right? And that's kind of what you were saying yesterday. And it was cool because we're setting all these professional goals, right? But it's like, like John was saying, how do you set the personal goals first to lead to it, right? And so that was so cool when you were going over that stuff yesterday, and it kind of inspired me that we could even talk about this on a personal level, and it could apply to everybody, but the two have to connect. It can't contradict.
Absolutely, they've got to be in sync with each other, and that goes back to that work-life spiritual balance that we're trying to find. And the job and working hard tends to be the priority, right? Because we have to provide a living, we've got to have a roof overhead and food on the tables, and so it's very easy to justify that the work is the priority and must be the priority. And I got to work 10, 12-hour days so that we have a house to sleep in to even spend time together. But when you get so focused intently on one thing and you don't have that balance, it's just not fair for everyone around you, in addition to the people that aren't around you that are indirectly affected. And it's not fair to yourself. I put a lot of stress and anxiety on myself unnecessarily. No one else is putting that stress and anxiety on me because I've got to work so much. And I've got to try to find time for my family. And, I got to try to find time to go to the gym and do these other sorts of things, versus looking at it from kind of a bigger approach, and that it's a work in progress always, and continually going to be changing that Gmail calendar. You've got your dinner at 6:30 and the family worship at 7:15. Well, once kids' soccer season starts, those times might have to change a little bit, right? So
exactly,
and that might not feel very comfortable. It might feel weird. You're in that good routine, right? We're talking about that good routine, and all of a sudden something changes, and ooh, wow. Okay, I need to be able to be pliable. I need to be able to adapt and evolve around life, circumstances, the job, the family, the philanthropic work, the giving back to our community, all these other sorts of things.
And that's come up. Like,
right, it does daily. It absolutely does daily.
That's a really good point.
The other thing, Logan, is you're one of the most driven, competitive, motivated guys
Thank you.
on the planet. And so for you, this is a whole different experience planning this out, because for you, this takes pressure off that you're already putting on, because it gives you permission to focus on things that maybe your brain wouldn't allow you to focus on. There are other personalities too, right? There's other types of people who this gives them needed pressure, right? They're maybe more of a relaxed type of personality, and they're just in a rut going through the motions, and having structure like this, like a plan that says, here's my values, here's what I want to accomplish this year, and then here's some tangible list of business and professional things that I'm going to accomplish. That's a whole different way of looking at the world, but they're both using the same sort of tool to make the positive change. And the other thing I would say on that is, don't let the ideal of excellent be the enemy of good, right? We're trying to move the bar here. No one is going to be, not very many people are going to be a Logan Hall. Let's be honest. But part of Logan Hall is recognizing, hey, man, sometimes Logan Hall is Logan Hall at the detriment of people around him if he's not real careful. And so how does either one of those personality types use a system like this to move the bar and to help them shape and become who they say they are and want to be?
Great point. And I think something to expand on there is, progress, not perfection. Moving the bar, even if you're moving the bar a hair, and you're moving it in the right direction, at least you're moving it in the right direction. And sometimes you'll move it more than that in one day, and sometimes you won't move it at all. And on those days that you don't move it at all, you need to be aware that what bad routine or rut or my misprioritization today, I was more worried about watching 3 football games today on a Sunday rather than going to church, doing some yard work, and taking my kids to the park, right? So it's a constant struggle and a constant self-evaluation to make sure that you're headed on the right path.
I think, I for me, that's what it is, and that's why it's like you have to be so careful. Be like, why do these things? I think that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I think I should do. If I'm being honest, like other people that say they have the same beliefs as me, like, they probably should be doing some of those things too, right? Because it's not just like a personal thing. It's something that I think people can objectively strive for, So I don't think it's like, so it's kind of like if you have a job, it's not a matter of your opinion, whether or not you're supposed to go to work each week, right? Or each day. If you're a Christian, you probably should go to church each week. If you're married, you probably should spend time with your wife. So it's like these contracts and these agreements we put ourselves in, they matter, and so I struggle with what you're saying too. It's like there's certain days where I work so much and my brain's going so much that I don't feel like getting up on Saturday, much less Sunday.
It's a great point, James, and it's why this whole process has to start with writing down a 2-sentence description of what your vision is for your year or your life, and then 15-word description of what you value most. And that's exactly my point. Start there. Write down the things that matter. My family matters. My faith matters. My job matters.
Is that kind of an example of
yeah.
Maybe give us an example, a little bit of yours, if you don't mind?
Yeah, of a mission statement. I've been thinking about this, and what should a good mission statement sound like? Should it be that I'm striving to do this and that, and then the values kind of accompany and hold you accountable to staying within that mission? Give us a good example of a mission statement.
Well, a mission is going to be uniquely situated for every single individual, because nobody's the same, and everybody's got different things going in their life and different things they're striving to accomplish. It should be succinct and clear. It should be what you want to accomplish. Your mission statement. I'll give you an example. There is a church in the Valley that has done an excellent job of laying out what their mission statement is, and it's win, train, send. Right? They want to win people to their church. They want to train them up to be good members, and they want to send them out in the world to repeat the process. And that's just a really succinct way for any organization or any other person to kind of look at their life. Like, what do you want to do? I want to really have a solid marriage and family, so that I can go out into the community and share that with others. And I want to do that by being the best I can be at work. Right? again, it's going to look different for everybody, but it should kind of lay out what you're trying to accomplish. Then the values are what really matters to me, right? What really matters to me is maybe I've got integrity. Maybe what really matters to me is that I've got time for my family. Or maybe what really matters to you is that you set aside time to exercise and feel good about yourself. This is not a judgment zone. This is what your values are, what matter to you.
Right.
And then being able to come back and look at that and go, what are my goals that are going to help me get there? Right? So start with the mission and the values, and then move over to the goals and break them out on a piece of scratch paper. Again, don't let the ideal of excellent be the enemy of good, and write out what are those key categories: business, personal, financial, health, spiritual. What are those key areas of your life that matter? And then begin to get individual measurements for what that means.
Very important, and I think, on our next show, we'll talk more about actually setting the goals and the strategies and tactics to get there. I think right now that's one heck of a start for any and all of us to start working on what that mission statement looks like for us. And John gave a really good example that it's not going to be the same across the board, and it probably shouldn't be as vague as I want to be a good dad, I want to be a good father, and I want to be a good husband, and I want to be a good member of my community. Well, it could be as simple as that to start, for sure.
But then that's where it's great, because then your goals should say your goals will provide the measurement. I want to be a good dad. Well, what does that mean?
What does that mean?
Well, it means I want to spend 2 hours a day playing games with my kid at home.
So it again, if this is your first time ever doing this, I think that might be the way that we encourage you to start is, outlining a few things that you want to get better at, that that you need some improvement. And then with the values, maybe not so much an elaborate, fancy sentence trying to describe or discuss what you want. I kind of liked your idea of just putting some key words in there that literally are values that one should have: integrity, humility, empathy, some of these sorts of things. What's really unique about our company here at Century 21, I've never seen at another company, is that we have a mission statement, but we also have values, and we have a set of stairs that lead from the first floor to the second floor, and it's the coolest thing I've ever seen. On the face of each one of those stairs as you're walking up are our company core values. And in order of priority, starting at the top with faith, family, and love, all the way down to the bottom to the one that we need to use probably most consistently.
Well, it's certainly the one we needed to use to climb the stairs, right?
Right. Perseverance is the first step. And so if
you guys thought about the order to put them into?
We did. That's even a story in itself. Us as the leadership team, we had this new fancy building with this awesome set of stairs with nothing on it for 4 months, even more than that. And it's because it was so crucial for us to nail these values. And we had a whole list of words. There was probably 40 or 50 words of key points of values that we as an organization want to hold and that the members of our organization need to hold to be a good fit. And we struggled hours over hours trying to pull words out of this list, put them in, and then, as James mentioned, put them in the priority of which they should be lived by, and also the ones that we use most frequently. So there's a little bit of a head start for you guys. The company values here, the one that we use most frequently throughout the day, and we need to really get us over humps or get us up the hill, is perseverance. And in order of priority, what the most important are at the top: faith, family, and love.
Yeah, and I would say on that one, the one that's written in the biggest font and it's intentional is love, and that's because we love the people that come to work with us here as they are, where they are, regardless of whatever their background, whatever brings them here. We're just going to love them. And it's a value for us because it's not just how we treat our agents and our employees, it's also how we treat our clients. And that's what we mean by holding you accountable to our values. We expect that you are going to love your clients so much that you're going to put their needs above your own. And it's great when you see an example like that, and I appreciate you bringing it up, Logan. But again, that's what we should all be doing with our lives, is just coming up with those few words that best describe who we are, who we want to be, what we want our lives to be run by.
And even look at it figuratively as the stairs that we have here, the stairs in your life, the stairs in my life that I need to climb. that need to be a part of my infrastructure to get me from where I'm at to the top level.
Right.
I mean, what an amazing metaphor to use. So we certainly would encourage you guys to work on your mission statement and also work on your values. And feel free to share this with some other people and get some feedback. Your significant other, your best friend, a work buddy, your wine cocktail friend, and whatever your things are. Right?
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
If your goals
are just your own,
you're never
and
going
focus on you.
You're never going to hit them.
You have to tell people?
You do.
It's really,
I know. It's scary because then
So
now
who should
comes that
you-
big A word,
So who should
accountability.
You, right, but okay, so let's just say like I'm a realtor here or whatever. I guess in the case like we were doing the class this week, yesterday, who would I share it with? So their professional goals they're all sharing with each other and sharing with you, right? So that's good.
Yeah.
So their personal goals too. I mean, are we encouraging them to share with each other that way also?
The person that you probably should share those with and be most involved that you might be reluctant to ask to perform that duty is probably your spouse or significant other.
right.
The flip side of that is you never know that you might motivate them or encourage them to put their own list together. And then I think one other thing that we'll kind of finish on that we emphasized yesterday is, not putting this list together and tucking it in the top drawer in your desk in your home office that you never look at and you won't see until 3 years when you clean out your desk. We encourage all of our agents and we encourage you to make this front and center of what you do and tape it to your mirror in your bathroom. I hate to say it, but you spend a lot of time in the bathroom and you spend a lot of time staring in the mirror. Whether you're vain or not, you do. Brushing your teeth, doing your hair, putting your contacts in, you got to have the mirror. And to have something there that you see in the morning and at night, usually the times we're in the bathroom, right? What an awesome reminder to start your day. And what an awesome capstone to your day to kind of reflect on how that day went, good or bad.
How'd I do?
And get charged up to try to make the next day better. And so I think that's our last challenge to you guys is to get your mission statement, get your values, and then make them public. Certainly don't need to go out on your social media and let the whole world know because there's obviously going to be haters. The minute that you fail on one of those things, they're going to be casting stones. But share this with someone that that cares about you and wants the best for you and would love to be a big fan, cheering you on, rah-rah, and from the sideline, to get you to the end zone. So I think that's a great point to leave it at. And our next show will pick up with talking more about the specific goals and the strategies and the tactics to get there. I really want to thank John and James for being a very awesome part of the show today, you guys. And
yeah, thank you, man, for having us.
Thank you. And go out there, and I've said this before, be the best you can. Like John said, it's not perfection, it's progress. And as I've said before, live the life you love the life you live. That's all we got. Have a good day.
Thanks, Logan.